Very good morning, dear students. We have already started unit number 6. The previous class we have discussed the fundamentals of microbial leaching, that is bioleaching. In the class we have discussed what do you mean by bioleaching and what are the different types of bioleaching and what are the common mechanism of bioleaching, what are the major microorganisms involved in bioleaching. All those things we have discussed, and in this class we are going to discuss one of the well-studied bioleaching approach in the ecosystem. One of the very well-studied bioleaching process by microorganisms are bioleaching of sulfur. Okay, bioleaching of sulfur and sulfur-related component. And sulfur, as you all know, is one of the most important component in the biological system, and which has got a lot of applications in the body. Also, sulfur is the very important components because the sulfur containing amino acids, they're having a profound role in the stability of the proteins. And in the ecosystem also, the sulfur has various applications. A lot of sulfur are present in the universe, and the leaching of sulfur from its parent ore is one of the excellent example of bioleaching. And this is one of the most peculiar studied bioleaching approach by microorganisms. As we have discussed in the last class, there are two types of bioleaching process. Sulfur leaching also there are two types. One is direct sulfur leaching, next one is indirect sulfur leaching. And when you are talking about direct sulfur leaching, as you all know, the bacteria, the microorganisms are specifically contacted on the surface of the metal sulfide, okay, and they will utilize the metal sulfide as a sole source of their energy, and they will degrade the component. But in the case of indirect sulfur leaching, the metal sulfide will be there and there is no direct contact of microorganism will be taking place, and microorganism will be producing certain substances, and that will be converts the ferric form of the ion to the ferrous form and vice versa. That is non-contact bioleaching or indirect bioleaching. And direct bioleaching is known as contact bioleaching. And in the case of direct bioleaching, the most important direct sulfur leaching are happening from two types of component. One is the dissolution or the leaching of pyrite, okay. The next one is the leaching of chalcopyrite, okay. Pyrite and chalcopyrite are the main form of the sulfide that is commonly present, okay. In the case of pyrite, that is iron sulfide, and in chalcopyrite, this is copper iron sulfide. And as we have discussed in the previous class, the major microorganisms are involved in this particular process are Thiobacillus peroxidans, that is renamed as Acidothiobacillus peroxidans. Then the next one is Thiobacillus thioxidans, Acidothiobacillus thioxidans. So these are the major organisms. They are involving in the bioleaching of sulfur and sulfur related component. And the first process, that is a direct sulfur leaching, is happening by using pyrite leaching. In the case of second bioleaching, that is chalcopyrite leaching, the leaching of both iron and the leaching of both sulfur and copper will be taking place. Okay, the majority of the cases, the recovery of the copper from this chalcopyrite is very easy. And we are going to discuss the details about these two microorganisms. This is Thiobacillus feroxidans. This is an electron microscopic picture, and this is the colonizing Thiobacillus thioxidans in a particular surface. And this is renamed as Acidothiobacillus feroxidans, as I said in the previous slide. And this bacteria, the basic microbiology is a gram-negative non-spore-forming rod. So this is a gram-negative non-spore-forming rod-shaped bacteria, which are strict aerobic organism because it require air, oxygen for their growth, and they generally very fast growing. Okay, and they use the ferric ion and sulfur ion as electron acceptor. So they can use the ferric ion and sulfur ion as the electron acceptor. And this organism is commonly known as iron oxidizing bacteria. And this is a typical mesophilic bacteria. The temperature is approximately 20 to 35 degree centigrade, and the pH is highly acidic. Okay, approximately 2. Okay, and they are chemolitho-autotrophic organism. Okay, the chemicals act as the sole source of carbons. Okay, and carbon dioxide act as the energy source also. So that is chemolitho-autotrophs. Okay, so this is all about Thiobacillus feroxidans. Then Thiobacillus thioxidans, this is also you can see the electron microscopic picture, almost the same genera. Okay, so here this is the electron microscopic picture. You can see this is a side view. Okay, and here this is otherwise known as Acidothiobacillus thioxidans. This is a gram-negative rod-shaped bacterium that uses sulfur as its primarily energy source. Okay, so that is why it is known as sulfur oxidizing bacteria. The previous organism mainly known as iron oxidizing bacteria, and this is sulfur oxidizing bacteria. They are typically mesophilic organism, but optimum temperature is 28 degree centigrade. They are strict acidophilic organism, as I said. Okay, and optimum pH, that is less than 4. Okay, and this bacteria is a strict aerobe also, and they are chemolithotrophic in nature. And this organism is commonly found in soil, fewer pipes, and caves biophilia. Okay, so these are the common habitat of this particular bacteria. Then we are going to discuss what is the basics aspects of a pyrite leaching or iron sulfide. This is the pyrite is the most abundant sulfur mineral present in the universe. Okay, and this is an iron sulfide with a chemical formula FeS2, that is iron is in the +2 state. Okay, so +2 state iron to sulfur disulfide. Okay, and this is the structure. You can see this mineral that is known as iron pyrite. Okay, the mineral pyrite is known as iron pyrite, that is known as the fool's gold. Okay, you can see this is exactly similar to that of gold, and the name pyrite is derived from Greek. Okay, that means stone or mineral which strike fire. Okay, stone or mineral which strike fire. And this pyrite's metallic luster and pale brass yellow give its superficial resemblance to gold. That is why it is known as a fool's gold. That is not exactly gold, but it resembles to that of the gold. Okay, and that is the important thing, and that is known as fool's gold. Okay, and this is the the crystal of this pyrite. Okay, so you can see that is the god like shining here. And pyrite is commonly used for the production of sulfur dioxide, and that is commonly using in paper industry, and that is this pyrite also used for the manufacture of sulfuric acid. Okay, so the sulfuric acid is known as the king of the acid. Okay, so that is the another important aspects of a pyrite. So this is the very brief introduction about pyrite. Okay, now we are going to discuss the basic, the bioleaching process of the pyrite. Okay, the basic bioleaching process of pyrite by direct mechanism, as we have discussed in the last class. The first step is the disulfide, that is the iron sulfide, that is disulfide pyrite is spontaneously oxidized to form thiosulfide by ferric ion, that is in the Fe3 plus state, which in turn reduced to give a ferrous ion state. Okay, Fe2 plus state. Then this ferrous ion is oxidized by the bacteria using an aerobic process using oxygen, and the same time thiosulfate is also oxidized by bacteria that produces the sulfite. Then the ligand metal complex is extracted from the solution using an organic solvent. Okay, so this many process is a bacterial process. Then the third process is the recovery of the metal, extraction of the metal, and the metal can be concentrated and separated by displacing the metal with the iron from scrap iron. Okay, so this is the common mechanism of bioleaching of pyrite by direct mechanism. Then this is what is the detailed mechanism. This we have discussed in the previous class also. Mechanism of pyrite bioleaching. That is what I told you. The first step, sulfide is spontaneously oxidized to thiosulfide by ferric ion, that is Fe3 plus, which in turn reduced to produce an ion, that Fe2 plus state. Okay, this is ferrous sulfide, and that is combines with a ferric ion, then with water, then which gives the thiosulfide. Okay, this is S2O3 2 minus is thiosulfide, and protons plus iron, which is an F2 plus, that is the ferrous stage. This is a spontaneous process, and this ferrous ion is oxidized by bacteria using oxygen. Okay, so this Fe2 plus ions is oxidized by bacteria, that is iron oxidizing bacteria, to Fe3 plus state, that is here thiobacillus ferroxidants will be playing a major role, and the sulfide, that is thiosulfide, that is oxidized by the bacteria to give sulfite. Okay, and this thiosulfide plus oxygen plus water, and here the organism thiobacillus thioxidants will be playing a major role that produces sulfite and 2H plus ions. That is done by sulfur oxidizing bacteria. Okay, the first step, that is thiobacillus ferroxidants will be playing a very important role. The second case, thiobacillus thioxidants will be playing a very important role. The ferric ion that is produced in reaction number 2 will be more sulfide as in reaction 1. Okay, then the cycle and gives the, and that will be closing the cycle and give the net reaction. This is the final reaction of a pyrite bioleaching. The pyrite, that is 2Fe(S2) plus, it's an aerobic process, 7O2 plus water, Fe(S2), okay, Fe2 plus, that is ferrous ion plus sulfite plus H plus, and these two will combine to produce the hydrogen, and sulfate will be produced, sulfuric acid that will be released out, and soluble ferrous ion will be produced separately. So this is the bioleaching of a sulfur or a pyrite, leaching by direct mechanism. And there are certain, not only pyrite, there are certain non-iron metal sulfide also can be done the same process by thiobacillus thioxidans and thiobacillus peroxidans, exactly like a pyrite. Okay, so that there the general mechanism is a metal sulfide in presence of oxygen, then it will convert into metal sulfide. Okay, so metal sulfide will be in presence of an oxygen will be converted into a metal sulfide. Okay, so MES is metal sulfide which will convert into sulfate. Okay, so the major metal sulfates are copper sulfate, that is known as a covalent. Okay, then copper 2 sulfate, that is Cu2 sulfide, that is known as chalcocite. Okay, then next one is a zinc sulfide, that is known as sphalerite. Then a lead sulfide, that is known as a galena. Okay, then molybdenum sulfide, that is known as a molybdenite. Okay, then that is Sb. Okay, to S3, that is known as a stibnite. Okay, then COS, that is cobalt sulfide. Okay, then nickel sulfide, that is known as a millerite. Okay, so these are the various types of metal sulfide in which the sulfur can bioleach. Okay, exactly like a pyrite leaching. And this is all about the indirect leaching. So direct leaching. And what is the role of microorganism and what will be happening here? So the microbial oxidation process of sulfur related compound, especially pyrite or any metal sulfide, that will happen at the cell membrane of the bacteria. Okay, it will happen in the cell membrane of the bacteria, where the electron which will be passed into the cells and are used in a series of reactions there in a biochemical process. Finally it will produce the energy, and that energy will be utilized by the bacteria and reduce oxygen to water. Okay, so that is the overview of the process. Now there are two important types of bacteria, that is thiobacillus thioxidans peroxidans, that is iron oxidizing bacteria, and thiobacillus thioxidans, that is sulfur oxidizing bacteria. So these are the major important reaction. And there are some organism also that is not directly but that is indirectly, that is known as leptospirillum peroxidans. Okay, that one also will be taking place in the sulfur leaching process. Then the next one is indirect pyrite bioleaching. So pyrite can be bioleached direct method and indirect method. So you know that in the case of indirect method or non-contact method, here the bacteria will not be touching the or contacting with the mineral surface. The bacteria no need to contact with the mineral surface. Okay, they only catalyze the function. They will be having a catalytic function because they accelerate the reoxidation of ferrous ion. Okay, and why reoxidation of ferrous ion? Because in general case there will be taking place very slow process in the absence of an ion oxidizing bacteria. Okay, in order to speed up the process, so what will happen? You will be having the ion oxidizing bacteria here, and this bacteria generator, how it will function in indirect pyrite leaching. Yesterday we have discussed the bacteria generate certain substance. Okay, that substance is known as a lixiviant. Okay, so that lixiviant will chemically oxidize the sulfide mineral. Okay, so the lixiviant act on the metal sulfide and that will be converted into the sulfate. So what do you mean by a lixiviant? So the lixiviant is a liquid medium that is used to extract the desired metal from the parent ore or a mineral. So generally it function as an assistant agent or agent for the rapid and complete leaching of a metal. Okay, and in acidic solution this lixiviant is a ferric ion. Okay, I told you this is a liquid medium. In acidic solution the lixiviant is ferric ion and metal solubilization will takes place. So what will happen? How it will happen? Here you can metal sulfide plus iron sulfate. Then you can see metal sulfate plus iron sulfate and free elementary sulfur. Okay, sulfur free radical you can see here. So this is known as a indirect pyrite leaching. Okay, because the pyrite is indirectly leaching. Okay, they do not touch the metal surface, and they produce certain biochemical substance called lixiviant, and that substance will be helping for the rapid leaching of the sulfur from the pyrite. Then in the case of indirect bioleaching, here you can see the sulfur rising simultaneously may be oxidized to sulfuric acid. In the previous case, we have seen that the free sulfur is produced, okay, and that free sulfide will be oxidized to produce sulfuric acid by Thiobacillus peroxidans. The iron oxidizing bacteria also produce sulfuric acid here. And the oxidation by Thiobacillus thioxidans, which frequently occur together with the Thiobacillus peroxidans, is much faster. So if one organism is acting on this particular process, it will happen. But if both the organism, both iron oxidizing and sulfur oxidizing bacteria, if it is there, then the reaction will happen much faster way. Okay. Then what is the role of the Thiobacillus thioxidant? The Thiobacillus thioxidant will create a favorable or suitable acidic environment for the growth of ferrous ion oxidizing bacteria such as Thiobacillus peroxidans or Leptospirillum peroxidans. Okay, so that is the role of Thiobacillus thioxidans in indirect leaching. Okay, then this free sulfur that combines with the oxygen, then what will happen? By using all this iron and sulfur oxidizing bacteria and produce sulfuric acid. So that sulfuric acid will be accumulated in the environment. The free sulfur in presence of water and oxygen will produce H2SO4 in presence of both iron and sulfur oxidizing bacteria. Okay. In indirect bioleaching, another important bacteria called Leptospirillum peroxidans also can take part. So that is also act as the iron oxidizing bacteria. Then the first process is in the case of sulfur leaching, the first process is pyrite leaching. The pyrite leaching, both the direct and indirect mechanism we have seen. Then the next process is, the second process is known as bioleaching of a copper mineral. Okay, so that is chalcopyrite, that is copper iron sulfate. Okay, so copper iron sulfate, so that is known as chalcopyrite. So how chalcopyrite will be leaching? Okay, so once chalcopyrite leaching is happening, what is happening is the recovery of copper will be taking place. Okay, so not only sulfur, the recovery of copper also will be taking place. The mechanism is the same exactly like how we discussed. The first step, this copper iron sulfide will be combined with the ferric ion by using iron oxidizing bacteria, and that releases the free copper, and this iron will be converted into a ferrous stage, and you will be having the sulfur in an elementary form. Okay, and this ferrous form of this sulfur will be combined with the oxygen and hydrogen, and that produces ferric form, that is known as iron oxidizing bacteria, Thiobacillus thioxidans, Thiobacillus peroxidans. Okay, and this free elementary sulfur, they combines with the oxygen and water and produces sulfate and hydrogen. So that is known as sulfur. That is a function of sulfur oxidizing bacteria, Thiobacillus thioxidans. Okay, so as a net reaction, so the CuFeS2 chalcopyrite, okay, or copper iron sulfide, okay, combines with the oxygen, presence of oxygen, then free copper ion plus iron plus sulfate. Okay, copper is there, iron is there, sulfate also is there. So this is the biodegradation or bioleaching of chalcopyrite component. So this is the major types of sulfur related component that is mainly happening in the ecosystem. Then, as we have discussed in the previous class, there are a lot of factors which influences the bioleaching of both the pyrite and chalcopyrite. Okay, so in the case of there are three important factors: the physiological parameters, microbiological parameters, or other parameters. The physiological parameters are the major one which gives a suitable physiological condition for the growth of microorganism and the bioleaching activity. That is temperature, pH, redox potential, the water potential, oxygen content and oxygen availability, carbon dioxide content, mass transfer, nutrient availability, iron 3 concentration, okay, both in 2-state and 3-state concentration, the light, the pressure, surface tension, presence of inhibitor if anything is required. So these are the major physiological factors. Okay, then the microbiological factors are the in terms of microbial density or population density, the activity of microorganism, spatial distribution of microorganism, the tolerance of microorganism to the metal, then the adaptation ability of microorganism in such an environment. Then the other factors are also, okay, the nutrients. Okay, that is very, very important. The major nutrients that is commonly using for the microbial activity, and the mineral substrate, the nature of mineral substrate, whether it's pyrite, whether it's chalcopyrite or iron sulfide, okay, copper sulfide, okay, all those things, and which heavy metal is a part of this particular sulfide, and the presence of surfactant and organic extractant. Okay, so there are studies revealed that the surfactant and organic extractants play a very vital role for the, for the bioleaching of sulfur. Okay, so that is another important aspects. Then, like we have discussed in the previous class, there are a lot of advantages for the bioleaching of sulfur by using thiobacillus thioxidans and thiobacillus peroxidans. The process is very, very simple since it's a natural process using microorganism or microbial consortia. Hence, it is inexpensive process. Then the recovery of high quality metal from low grade or like pyrite. Okay, recovery of high quality sulfide from a low grade pyrite. We can extract and refine these metals. Okay, to extract refines and expensive metals which is not possible by any other chemical process. Okay, so there are so many metal sulfides that cannot be processed by chemical process, that can be done by biological process. Then this is employed for collecting metal from waste and drainages. So I told you that's commonly present in any types of soil contaminants. Okay, and so the waste that is commonly accumulated, the soil contaminant, can be useful, and you will be getting the valuable metals from the parent ore. So no poisonous sulfur dioxide emission. Generally this process will be producing, chemical process, other methods will be producing sulfur dioxide, but here there is no sulfur dioxide emission will happen. Then no need for high pressure, okay, or high temperature. Although extremophiles can act on that temperature, it is a typical mesophilic temperature only, it is working. So there is no extreme temperature is required. Then this is ideal for low grade sulfide ore. Okay, the generally sulfide ore, there are a lot of impurities, a pyrite, okay, all such kind of things are very low grade ores that can be ideal for their microbial process are ideal for low grade sulfide ores. Then this is highly environmental friendly approaches, so there is no harmful impact for the ecosystem. So this can be a sustainable approach. This is also helpful for the developing industries, okay, metal mining industries, bioleaching industries, by various microbial approaches. So obviously it will be contribute to the development of the country and development of the economy of the country. Then the major limitations are, and this is a heat generator process. So the pyrite dissolution or chalcopyrite dissolution will create lot of heat. There are chances that thiobacillus thioxidants and thiobacillus peroxidants can be killed if the heat is so high. Then generally this particular process will happen 6 months to 3 years or 2 to 3 years or more than that. And we require a very vast land or vast area for the treatment. And there are some of the cases, there are high risk of contaminations are also there, and these contaminants will be released to the ecosystem and they contribute to the pollutions. Then some toxic chemicals are also sometimes produced due to this particular process. That process, as we have discussed in the bioremediation, that particular components that can be more toxic than the parent component. So, and next is very, very important, we cannot automate this particular process. So once it is started, we cannot quickly control or quickly we cannot stop. So then the yield will be always low or consistency will be there for the yield, because the bacteria cannot grow uniformly, and the bacteria, the freshly prepared bacteria is very good capabilities, if it is there, then it will act very uniformly. Otherwise, the normal condition, there will be low or inconsistent yield of metal sulfide will be produced this particular process. So these are the major limitations of sulfur leaching. Then that's all, dear students, we can conclude today's class. So today we have discussed, once again we can recollect bioleaching of sulfur derivatives, why sulfur is very important. There are two important process, the direct mechanism and indirect mechanism. Direct bioleaching, what are the major microorganisms? Thiobacillus peroxidans and thiobacillus thioxidans are there, and that is pyrite leaching. And the bioleaching of pyrite by direct mechanism. What is the mechanism of pyrite bioleaching? And what are the non-iron metal sulfide apart from pyrite? Then what will happen, how the microbial activity will be happening, and how indirect pyrite dissolution will be happening. Then the bioleaching of copper mineral, how it is happening, mainly from chalcopyrite. And what are the factors which influencing the sulfur leaching? Then what are the advantages and what are the drawbacks of the particular process? So that's all, dear students. So these are the major reference book that is mentioned in your syllabus. Thank you for watching this particular class. If you are having any clarification, you can ask me. Have a great time.